Darth Elvis says, I would love a 10 out of 10 horror movie episode. Oh, you are speaking my language with The Beyond and Martyrs. Similar start in horror with Hammer picking up with the nasties on the VHS black market. Oh, Darth Elvis. I wish we were in a pub over a couple of drinks right now. This is my specialist subject. If I was on Mastermind, and I'm sure they don't even have Mastermind anymore because there's not enough clever people anymore. But my chosen subject would be horror films. I don't even know what era, because I love 70s horror films and I love 80s horror films. But yeah, a 10 out of 10 movie, yeah, I would love to do that. I don't know if a lot of people would be interested enough for me to do that. I mean, doing them lists when it's albums, I think you've got people's attention, because presumably a lot of the reason that here is because of the music. Maybe if a lot of you came back and said, yeah, that'd be a good idea, then giving you what I think absolute perfect horror movies. And that's not to say horror movies that I like or that I would recommend. There's a few horror movies that I think are perfect 10 out of 10 horror movies that I can't even comfortably watch. Martyrs. I know I recommend Martyrs, but it's a bit like recommending fucking skydiving, you know, bungee jumping. Chances are you're not going to enjoy it. You'll just be glad you made it through the other end. And a lot of the times people are just going to go, fuck that. And I'll completely understand. So yeah, my idea of perfect horror movies wouldn't be necessarily horror movies that I think you should watch. But having said that, I'm just trying to think which movies would be 10 out of 10s. I mean, obviously The Exorcist is up there, and I've got a lot of different, I've got some strange, I really like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And I know a lot of people don't, but I think that's a 10 out of 10 movie. Tom Savini effects. And it's fucking crazy. Dennis Hopper being fucking as Dennis Hopper-ish as fuck. I really like that. That would probably be in my 10 out of 10 horror movies. Yeah, there's a few. Is Rocky Horror Picture Show a horror movie? Because that would be in there. Is Jaws a horror movie? Because that would probably be in there. And then would a Serbian film okay, this is a fucking contentious one. The colour version of The Human Centipede 2. Now, that's a 10 out of 10 horror film, but I don't advise you go and watch it because it is fucking horrible. But it is absolutely, again, with the integrity for the music thing, integrity in horror. I can't stand these commercial horror films, and I try to get into them. I just watched the last Final Destination, Bloodlines, or whatever it is. CGI, fucking garbage. You know, cookie cutter, add water and mix horror for people that simply just want to take someone to the pictures on a Friday night and they're only 15. It's pointless to me. Pointless. I don't even consider it a horror movie, even though I consider Rocky Horror Picture Show to be more of a horror movie than the Final Destination movies. CGI bullshit. There will be no CGI in any of my fucking top 10 horror films. Maybe there'd be even more than 10. I don't know. But that would be an interesting one, if only for me. And again, it's that integrity thing of, would that just be self-indulgent or would it be informative? You tell me. Orange Tire. Fucking, what's going on my voice there? I haven't sang for a while. It's probably why my voice is breaking. Orange Tire. Fucking love your name, mate. You have mentioned over the years that you weren't allowed to be involved in the mixing process for Albion. No, I fucking wasn't. And that this is one of the things that has soured your opinion on it. Seeing as the album bears your name, I've never fully understood why other band members were able to be part of this process but not you yourself. Could you explain a little bit more about this, as well as the dynamic of the group around this period? No band members were invited into the mixing. It was Ken Van Bergen working with our manager at the time, whose name I can't even be bothered to say, but it was their idea to not have me at the mixing, because Kevin Van Bergen wanted to mix it himself, which is, again, everyone does things in a different way, and you don't like it, you go, okay, it won't work with you again, and haven't worked with them again, because how you can mix an album without inviting the artist down to listen to the mix is fucking just something that doesn't really register with me as making a lot of sense. But then people don't make a lot of sense. And I'm fairly peopled out this week. There's been a lot of nonsensical behaviour from people that I just go, hey, that's all right. You can't change the way people are. You can only change how you react to them, and let things be. Let them be just as they are, and just get on with your own shit. When I'm getting peopled out, it gives me a chance to exercise my training in anger management and patience. And I think that's important, because it's important to have anger. I think there's a difference between a peaceful person and a harmless person. And a peaceful person is choking down that monster that could easily come out and ruin everything. Whereas a harmless person is just harmless. They're not choking down anything. They just want everyone to get along. I consider myself to be a peaceful person, so that's when questions like this come up to subjects that could probably get a bug up my arse at any fucking given stage of the day. I get to breathe in and just go, hey, that's what happened, and it's an album that I've made that I don't listen to. Whatever. If you like it, then great. It was a shame because it was a good time. It was a funny time. It was a pledge campaign. It was one of the last pledge campaigns, maybe the last pledge campaign. Probably because I remember everyone getting paid for that album apart from me. But I was also in and out of the studio because I was on tour with Courtney Love. And it was just one of those unfortunate system of circumstances with events taking place at the same time. So I couldn't be there all the time. Didn't need to be there all the time because I had one of the best bands that I've ever put together for anything. It was Chris Catalyst, Rich Jones, Victoria, John Poole, Denzel, and Brian Scary from New York. So it was a great bunch of people. Really, really enjoyed working with them. But yeah, just the whole thing was just one of the very few things I've got that still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. In the point where, only because I waste my time trying to figure things out sometimes. Trying to figure out why was that? When, there's sometimes, there's an option in life to go, it's not meant to make sense. And it's very important to accept that some things aren't meant to make sense. You just forget it and move on. And that's why it's really advisable not to live in the past, apart from when people like you ask me questions about the past. But I can afford to dip my toe in there and calm the demons and just talk about it. But I don't find it therapeutic whatsoever, because now I'm getting fucking angry again. I'm not. I'm getting deeply, deeply subconsciously angry. And on the surface, I am sweetness and light. But yeah, it was a weird time. It was a weird time. It taught me a lot of what not to do, which I think there's a good lesson in there. As I tell my youngest, all lessons that are going to mean anything come at a cost. And Albion was an album that lesson came at quite a hefty cost, namely an album. My name is Zach. Hello, Zach, formerly Ivy. I grew up on your music as my mum is a die-hard fan of yours. Nice. When I was 9, I wrote you a song which was sent off, and you actually sent back a video singing along with me. I wonder if you remember this. I don't. I still have the signed Diagnosis CD from you guys. I went to my first concert in Cambridge in March. Absolutely love it. I think I met you at the merchandise. We were talking. Yeah, you were there with your dad and your friend. I met you. We talked. Yeah. How are you doing? Everything good? Good. Great memories. Yeah, that was good. But I don't remember singing on this video. But then that's pretty much my life. I don't really remember until I really think about it. Was I singing along to you? Were you singing along to me? I remember a video singing along with me. I don't remember that. But I do remember meeting you. Zach, but you're formerly Ivy. Yes. Zach. Yes, now I remember you. Yeah, you're red hair. Spiky red hair, and you were very, very nice. I'm sorry that I don't remember singing along to your video, but I hope to see you again, and I hope everything's going great. I live in Seattle, Washington, says Peter Warlock. Fucking great. Americans have got great fucking surnames, and great Christian names as well, like Rock and fucking Brad and Brent and stuff. I think they're all members of Mastodon, actually. But Peter Warlock, I live in Seattle, Washington. Has Ginger talked about the shows he played at the Viper Room in Hollywood in 2009? I would love to hear more about his time in California. Have I talked about the Viper Room gig? No, I don't think so. I don't know there's much to talk about. Steve Stevens came down and he played on My Baby's a Head Fuck. The Viper Room's a weird one because there's no dressing room. There's this weird little auxiliary closet thing that you go in there, but it's a horrible little thing because it's obviously boiling hot there, and there's no aircon in this funny little room, but you get to watch the bands through this funny little skylight thing. I don't remember much about that show. It was all right. It was good. I remember Donny V turning up from Enough's Enough, and I was really looking forward to meeting him, and he was fucking poleaxed. What else? There was a few friends of mine there, lots of friends of mine in the audience, all of you lot. But no, I don't remember that much about it. It was just a transitional period. Again, it was the period where I was wearing a kilt. That's how confused I was. I used to wear a kilt all the time, and I used to wear it like you're supposed to wear it without anything underneath. And I remember Donny V trying to look underneath, just to make sure that I wasn't naked under there, and then being shocked and slightly disgusted that I was naked under there. But at the time, I didn't give a fuck, you know. Most of my life, I've done things and I just haven't given a fuck. And then I think back and go, why didn't I give more of a fuck about that? But it was another good gig. Billy Morrison, my friend Billy Morrison, who plays guitar in Billy Idol's band, he was largely instrumental in setting up a lot of those gigs. But I think it was just a gingers in town, let's just make something happen kind of gig. It wasn't really promoting anything. I was just trying to find things to do. I don't even remember who was playing in the band. Billy Morrison was in the band. No, I've got very few memories at all of the Viper Room, and there you go. Sorry about that. Kevin Reynolds asks, if you had loads of money like Noel Gallagher, would you find it hard or bother to write songs? Don't know. Well, he doesn't, does he? I mean, he kind of pitted off quite quick when he started getting rich. I've mentioned it a few times in the past where I think, money coming into people's lives who are on a real purple patch of creativity, it tends to knock them. Whether it knocks them and they get back on the path, or whether it completely knocks them, and like Noel Gallagher, they just become a kind of, what do you call them, champagne socialists, but, starts hanging out with Tony Blair and all the rest of it, that I'm sure Salford, Noel Gallagher probably wouldn't have really entertained that. Is he from Salford? Marky Smith's from Salford. Anyway, no, I don't think I would. I don't know how it would affect me, to be honest. It's one of those things where I've pondered long and hard how money affect me based on how it affects other people. But I don't get affected by anything based on how other people get affected. Fucking hell, life just doesn't hit me the same as it hits anyone else. Look at me, I'm fucking 60. I'm fucking working out and lifting weights fitter than I've ever been, and I'm fucking 60. People are supposed to fucking be dead when they're 60, or at least old and in a fucking old tattered Oxfam suit with a stick, fucking bald, and the fuck, nothing happens to me like it happens to other people. Money, I would imagine would be the same thing, but I don't know. If I could just... See, I don't make music for money, but I make music and money comes in. So I guess it does help. If I had loads and loads of money so I didn't need to make any money through music, I don't know. I was watching a Joey Jordison thing last night about this. And when, him and Slipknot were kind of falling out, he just went into the studio for like 2 years and just made, I think, Scar the Martyr. I was listening to that upstairs. Interesting album. I thought it was pretty interesting. And then he did Murder Dolls, obviously. And he did something else. Vimic, I think it was. But he spent 2 years in the studio, in probably a really nice studio that he'd put in his house, and probably could afford really good engineers to work with him. Maybe I'd do that if I had loads of money, and I would just disappear off the face of the earth and into my own arsehole and spend a few years inside of there, impressing myself. Whereas now the impetus to write, record and release music is a very organic one, and it gets released easily. The period is a year from me getting the idea to you listening to the idea. If I could take 5 years off to make an album, if I could take, God, look at Axl Rose. Look at the poor guy from fucking Three Colours Red, Pete Vukovic. He took longer to record his album than fucking Axl did with the fucking Democracy one. Yeah, money can do that. You can go, I can't be bothered today. And having loads of money will allow you to go, you don't have to be bothered. Just go in your studio and work on a bass drum sound. I don't get that luxury. Is it a luxury I'd even want? I don't think so. I can't help but think that a little bit more money would be nice. But there's a sweet spot. And I aim to find that sweet spot. But I got to say, I don't want too much money because I don't want too much freedom, because I don't want too much choice, because I think too much choice is the killer. That's when people get fucked up, when there's too much choice. Limit your choices and you'll be all right. And I like having very limited choices. So yeah, I tend to find that sweet spot, and I intend to keep my music, because a lot of the times I've made music when I've been skint, and it's the stuff that you guys usually like most. So there's something to be said about not mixing art with commerce. Back in my day, it was cool to be a musician that was still kind of living from month to month. Most musicians were, Lemmy or Phil Lynott or even Ozzy, they were releasing fucking great music and they weren't making a lot of money. Ramones. So yeah, I can't help but think the more money that people make from music, the more it's affected in a non-artistic way. Shall we just put it that way? Matt Evans' weird random synchronicity is happening with these podcasts. I like synchronicity. And it is fucking weird, because as soon as something catches on, one candle lights another candle, they fucking all start getting lit and this fucking shit goes on and I can't describe it. I just know that it seems to be real and it's exciting as all fuck. Last Friday, I started reading a book I ordered called Home Recording Studio, fucking talk about synchronicity, by Warren Hewitt. It had a foreword by a producer I'd never heard before called Jack Douglas. Yes. That evening you mentioned working with him on your podcast. Then last Friday I was halfway through a film I randomly chose I'd never seen, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, and you mentioned the musical box in the film and the Inglorious riff during the podcast an hour later. Maybe I'm just being daft, but what a coincidence. I don't think, Matt, there are coincidences. I'll tell you for why I don't think there are coincidences. Because I think we invent our reality. And if you don't subscribe to this way of thinking, it just sounds like I've lost my mind. Of course you don't. I didn't invent my fucking bills coming through the door. You kind of did. Because you invented the reality that made those bills come through the door. You also invent the kind of reality that keeps the bills come through the door and you keep complaining about them. That's inventing a reality. I think that you create your own reality, which kind of transitions off into other people's reality. So you can be thinking about someone and literally they're thinking of you as well, because we're all sharing the same energy. I know that the physical world isn't real because it's a bunch of atoms spinning around. Everyone knows that. But it seems real. The solid world seems real and reality seems real. The meat and potatoes reality seems real. So coincidence seems like it's just a bunch of bullshit. But imagine if there's no coincidence. If you literally do design the future that's going to come at you based on what you're doing right now in the present. And I've got to say that I've always had this feeling about this, but I've been putting it into practice over the last couple of years and it's fucking weird. Everything I've wanted to happen is happening. The only weird thing, the thing about it now that I found myself having to pull myself back from is that it doesn't happen when I want it to happen because I'm still impatient. But it happens. I want something to happen and I work for it to happen. It's fucking going to happen. And exactly the same thing happens with you. So how that ties into all of this, I don't know. I just know that it does tie into it because everything else in this subject makes sense. Why I talk about something and you think about it and then it happens. Why you think about someone on the fucking phone on the phone. I think we're all everything is using the same consciousness, all animals, all plants, all the rest of it, but especially humans are working on a different, higher vibration or working on a higher vibration than octopuses. Probably not. But anyway, you've seen that fucking animals in the water can fucking talk to each other through miles and miles of water. So what we're doing, and that's using consciousness in a certain way with the physical world, not with their limitations, or because we make all these rules based on time-space limitations. But yeah, I think using that consciousness is almost breaking out of the 3D world that people consider to be real and is tapping into another energy that isn't restricted by time-space. So you're tapping into this new energy that you can only imagine what it could be. You can't think of what it could be. You can imagine it's there, but you can't think. We're trapped in time-space. We can't think beyond that. But we can just imagine that it's there. Then everything we know about communication, about all of this, me communicating with you, weird things popping up on fucking podcasts and what have you, it's not weird. It's direct communication without having to travel kind of thing. This is something that I think about a lot.